My name is Eric. I'll be your yoga guide over the next 25 minutes or so. And I am honored to represent Comeback Yoga as a yoga instructor. I'm a veteran, and Comeback Yoga is a nonprofit organization that runs free yoga classes up and down the Front Range from Fort Colorado Springs and everything in between, and then from the East Coast to the West Coast of Colorado. So we'd like to invite you to come and find those schedules either in person on Zoom. We would love for your participation. And if we are a nonprofit and continuing to grow and trying to serve veterans and their families and their health, and so we could use your donations. We could use your help. So, with that said, let's go ahead and turn our attention to our practice for the day. And I'll set us up in the practice, but we'll come into our first pose, and that is a wide legged squat. Wide legged squat. So go ahead, feet wide, and then go ahead and drop the tailbone. Now, we've been doing, if you've been following me throughout the week, throughout the weeks, you'll notice we start here, and then I set the practice up. But always use your props if you need to use your props. All right. Over time, it will become more and more comfortable, and you will have more and more space in the pelvic girdle, and the hips will continue to open up, and then there's this traction in the spine. All right. So let's go ahead and set up the practice. So the first is just to recognize that relaxed attentiveness, that relaxed attentiveness, that relaxed attentiveness. You're just focused and aware. And then the next is to breathe. So in yoga, breath, just like in anything, the breath is the most important. If you're not breathing, you don't have too much time left. So we want to have an important function of the breath. And we can manage our biochemical output through the breath. And so in this practice, in through the nostril and out through the nostril. There might be some places where I have you breathe in a different way, but in general, in this practice, and then out into life, in through the nostril and then out through the nostril. And that balances out your oxygen and carbon dioxide ratios in the lungs, which is super important for your parasympathetic stimulation. Okay. So no pausing. So in through the nostril and out through the nostril, and then no pausing in the breath cycle. No pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth inhales to exhales and exhales to inhales. No pausing in the breath cycle. And then the next is to find the sweet spot on a intensity scale of 1 to 10, 1 being you don't feel anything, 10 is sharp and painful. We're looking for a 4, 5, 6 level of intensity. It should be engaged yet comfortable. Engaged yet comfortable. All right. And then let's go ahead and come to seat. And then we'll do this in between our poses, but go ahead and straighten out your legs. And then you just give this little tapotement. It's called tapotement. This little pop, 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 pop on the tissue, and let the legs just kind of relax. It should feel good. Okay. Good. And then the next exercise we're going to come into is the old-fashioned butterfly. So I like to start this with feet, the bottoms of the feet together, and then the knees just hang open. And then go ahead and sit straight up and use your hands to help you sit straight up. And then this little movement of the knees. Now it should be real soft and comfortable. All right. But we're trying to get that fascia to relax. And as you're just letting the knees just go through this little bounce, see if you can notice any pleasant sensations, any big organic breaths. All right, I just had a big organic breath right there. Any pleasant sensations. So, in another principle in this class is just to watch for pleasant sensations. I want everything to feel good for you, be very comfortable. All right. Now let's go ahead and sit up, and then we're going to lean into it a little bit more. So go ahead and grab your toes, and then you want to actually draw your shoulders back and down, broaden through the collarbone, lengthen through the back of the neck, and then start bringing the sternum down towards the feet. Sternum down towards the feet. All right. No pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot. Look for any pleasant sensations. You can even give in this stretch that's a little bit more intense. You can even let the knees go ahead and flap. Yeah. Any pleasant sensations, any big organic breaths, anything like that. And then go ahead and release. And then straighten out your legs. And then give a little, boop, 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 that little tapotement. Okay, next is child's pose. So I know that sometimes this is not so comfortable on the knees. So you can roll up you can go ahead and roll up the mat so that there's a padding for your knees. All right. But we do want to have the knees open and the toes touching. And then we'll start bringing the torso down towards the mat. Now, ideally, you're bringing the forehead to the mat and then straightening out your arms. Now, I have to have a little modification because I have a mic on. But also, this is also showing you a modification that you can still find a nice breath, find a stretch in this pose and child's pose, opening up the hips, elongating the spine, and breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle, in through the nostril, out through the nostril. No pausing in the breath cycle. Look for any pleasant sensations. That would be like you notice something relax, a big organic breath, or any opportunities for the mind to slow down. Maybe the mind just kind of shuts down. You're just present, here, now, content. And then come on up. Come on up slowly, easily. And then let's go ahead and straighten out those legs with that tapotement. Okay, let's give a little twist here. We're going to do a couple of pieces here. So the first is to do a little twist. So we're going to sit up so that the bottom of the feet and the right. So we're going to sit up like this. Okay, so the bottom of the foot is touching the knee. All right, sitting straight up. We're going to get a twist, and we're starting to open up these hips. You'll see how this progresses. But take your right hand, put it on the back of your tailbone, and then your left arm comes up and around, and you want to lift up through the top of your head and then start twisting to the right. And breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot. That's intensity level of a 4, 5, 6. At 4, 5, 6 level of intensity. Breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. Find the sweet spot and any pleasant sensations. And this twist, these twists are super important. And then go ahead and release. You give yourself a little counter twist. And then just switch it up. Switch it up. So you're sitting on your other side. Sit straight up. My mic is going a little crazy. Okay, here we go. So that hand comes and supports you at the tailbone, and then that right hand up and over, and then lifting up on that inhale, and then on that exhale, twisting to the left, twisting to the left, and breathing. No pausing in the breath cycle. In through the nostril, out through the nostril. See if we keep working on those smooth and smooth exhales. And then release. You can do a little counter twist. And then another thing is to make up breaths as long and deep as possible. And now this is the second part of this particular set of postures here, and that is to have the feet about hips width distance apart. And then we're just going to go back and forth. Watch this. So you just go back and forth. Boom. And then back and forth. Back and forth. Back and forth. Just like that. There you go. Back and forth. Yeah. Okay. And look for any play. You can notice that any little extra mobility over the weeks that we've been doing this, you'll notice that I kind of do the same thing. I'll put little twists and a little bit different nuances in, but I like finding continuity and familiarism in the poses so that you can see progress over time. Okay. All right, and then go ahead and straighten out, and then go ahead and find that tapotment. All right, next one is figure 4 into pigeon. Okay, I like to start at figure 4 and then progress into pigeon. We're still warming up, and this can sometimes be intense. So first off, lay on the back, and then that right ankle on the left knee. And then you can find the intensity and change the intensity. You can press into that hip. Or you can reach through and grab your hamstring and really bring it in. But the same principles, in through the nostril, out through the nostril. Notice any place. You might even notice, I noticed that it just kind of feels good to breathe in through the nostril. And you might have a cold or something. It's not so much. I got this gnat. And so you might have some inflammation in the nostril, but in general, breathing in through the nostril is sensorially pleasing. Okay, so no pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth inhales, smooth exhales. The bigger the breath, the better. And then switch it up. Left ankle over the right knee. And then find the balance. No pausing in the breath cycle. Look for any pleasant sensations, any opportunities for the body to relax, any big organic breaths, or any opportunities for the mind to relax. And you might recognize that you are present, still, here, now, content, focused, yet relaxed. And then go ahead and put that leg down, and then go ahead. I like getting into pigeon through down dog. So let's go ahead and find a downward facing dog, and then I'm going to give you a little bit of time just to pedal it out and give a nice little warm up, so you can bend the knee, pedal it out. This is all lower body, right? Gastrocnemius, those calves. take a little inventory, see what feels good, see what doesn't feel so good. Boop. Hello, anybody out there? I see somebody live. If you'd like to give me a chat text, just say hi. That helps me know that the comm is good, that there's no issues. Okay. All right, now we're facing dog. And then on an inhale, go ahead and lift up that right leg, right knee, right wrist, draping the lower leg across the mat. And then come into pigeon. Now start drawing the torso down. I'm not going to go all the way down because of my mic, but again, I like showing you the modifications so that you can see that you can modify in a pose and still get something out of it. Always take care of yourself. Meet yourself right where you're at. Being engaged yet relaxed. That's what we're looking for. It allows the nervous system to manipulate, or it allows the fascial system to relax and reorganize itself in a healthy manner more easily and more quickly and more efficiently if we can find this relaxed engagement. This relaxed engagement. And then right back to the fundamentals. In through the nostril and out through the. No pausing in the breath cycle. Smooth inhales to smooth exhales. If you can breathe like that, just observe. But you'll notice that by breathing in through the nostril and out through the nostril, it calms down that animal brain. It slows down the heart rate. And when that happens, that blood is redistributed into the prefrontal lobe and neocortex. And that's where we can think and make good decisions and see things in a different way. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Curious, open, allowing, and loving. Cole. This is the indication of activation of the prefrontal lobe and neocortex. Start coming on up. And then kick that right leg back. Now we're facing dog. And then left knee, left wrist, draping the lower leg across the mat on the other side. So this science of yoga, this practice of yoga, really is about managing the nervous system. We're managing the biochemistry of the nervous system. We're managing the fascial structure of the nervous system. We're managing the relationship between a central nervous system, which is your brain and your spinal cord, with your peripheral nervous system. Yeah. There's this whole relationship between central and peripheral nervous system. How do we manage it? How do we manage this biochemical response in the nervous system? Well, these practices are designed to do that. In through the nostril and out through the nostril, balancing out the gases in your lungs, in through the inhales to smooth exhales, calms down the animal brain. And then looking for these pleasant sensations, allowing the fascial system to relax and open up so that it can reorganize itself. And then start coming on up. Kick it out. Downward facing dog. And then you keep hearing. Let's get into the next posture and I'll keep moving. I hope you can hear me. You're still shy, you're not saying anything, but let's take the right foot, put it up here, and then we're going to press into that left hip, okay? So for 7 seconds, you're pressing in nice, engaged in the sweet spot. I call it the sweet spot. And then look for any pleasant sensations, big organic breaths, or any stillness in the mind. Notice that the mind relaxes when you become focused and relaxed, and then release. And then come back into that stretch into the left psoas and breathe, no pausing in the breath cycle. We do this 3 times, 7 seconds, 3 times each side. And then release. And then one more time. Coming into that stretch psoas, center of gravity. Very important. And then look for any pleasant sensations. All right. And then release. Now let's come into that hamstring now. We do not want to neglect the hamstring. So pulling the toes to the nose and then go ahead and engage at a comfortable level, 4, 5, 6 level of engagement. Now, as we're looking for these pleasant sensations where in the body it's pleasing, the nervous system has something to look forward to, and then release and then come back in. The nervous system is like, oh, this feels good. This is healthy. This is life giving. That's the sensation we're looking for. And that would include also, and then release, and then one more time. When the mind relaxes, the pictures in the head, the sounds in the head, the TV in the head just kind of tranquilos and turns way down, if not off. Okay, and then switch it up. These are opportunities to recognize the stillness, the natural stillness of the mind. So left foot up. And let's come into that right psoas. All right, 4, 5, 6 level of intensity. All right. And then relax. And then back in. Now, the original reason that they came up with these poses in yoga was so that they can find ways so they could sit longer and be in stillness longer. And then relax. And then come back in. And then release. And then come back into that hamstring. Into the hamstring. Same engagement. In through the nostril, out through the nostril. 7 seconds, then release. And then back into the hamstring. And then one more time. Balance it out. Have a nice stretch in that hamstring. And we have just systematically opened up the whole fascial system from the bottom down. Isn't that wonderful? Now, that is all designed so that you can rest a little bit easier, feel a little bit more comfortable in your body. All right. And I know that there's some chronic pain issues out there. I have gone through some pretty intense situations myself. Not to compare anybody, but just to show that this practice, when done consistently, the fruits will come out through consistent practice. And one of those fruits is a relaxed, pleasant sensation of just being still in the body. That's the fruit of yoga. So let's come in. We've got the last couple of minutes here. So let's go ahead and give ourselves a hug. This will roll down the and big breath in through the nostril and out through pursed lips. This will bring down the heart rate one more notch. Bring in a little oxytocin into the brain. And then switch it up. Left arm over right. In through the nostril, out through pursed lips. And then let's go ahead and stimulate left and right hemisphere, hippocampus, little snap and tap, turning off the TV. A little tap on the head. Snap and tap looking left and looking to the right, looking to the left and looking to the right. Da, 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 da. All right. So let's bring it into the rest of the day. So recognize that relaxed attentiveness. Just recognize that you're aware, that relaxed attentiveness. Shoulders back and down, lengthen through the back of the neck, broaden through the collarbone will allow the body to relax on the structure of the bones and find its center of gravity. Ground it here, now. Nostril and out through the nostril will calm down that animal brain. Always find the sweet spot, that 4, 5, 6 level of engagement in everything that you do. And then throughout the whole day, recognize any opportunities for the body to relax. Panic breaths, any shifts from tight to light, or any opportunities where the mind can just relax, where you just recognize that relaxed, present, here, now, content, peace of mind, just even for a moment. I want to thank you for sharing your yoga practice with me today, from one veteran to another, and all those that care for us, love us, and support us. Namaste.